Our Story Productions presents Martin County on TV, spotlighting the organizations, businesses, and citizens who are making a difference in our community today. And with interviews and stories done by local television shows over the last 25 years, here you're sure to learn more about the county we call home. Get ready, for this is Martin County on TV.
Hello and welcome. I'm Lenny Tvedten. Today we're going to take a look back at local history through the Martin County Historical Society series, Out of the Past. My guest today is Randy Musser, former Fairmont Fire Chief. We're going to talk about the history of the Fairmont Fire Department. First of all, Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a local Fairmont resident, live just outside the city of Fairmont. I worked for the Fairmont Railway Motors for 22 years and then went to work for the city of Fairmont as fire marshal, zoning official. I did a lot of building inspection and things like that. Anything anybody else didn't want to do. So, and I retired about 10 years ago.
So you're a lifelong Fairmont resident?
Pretty much, yes, except for college and that type of thing.
Okay. You were on the fire department, correct?
Yes, I was for about 25 years.
And what sparked your interest into wanting to get on the fire department? No pun intended there, Randy.
Well, it was kind of, back when I got on the fire department, it was kind of our civic duty to give back to the community. It was like we wanted to serve the community in some extent. So, yeah, it was kind of like a thing we all wanted to do.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about the history of fires in Martin County. And I know you mentioned something about prairie fires. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's kind of what installed putting together a fire department. Back in 1875, there was a prairie fire that destroyed about half of Martin County. I've read the memoirs of Julia Potter, talking about, and she was one of the girls of six in the family, and their father, which was George Osborne, a Civil War veteran.
That's a relative of yours, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And matter of fact, Julia Potter is Jack Potter's great-grandmother.
Oh, sure.
So she would tell about how the family would take turns watching the night sky in the fall for prairie fires, and they would take their turns watching for the glow or looking for the smoke or something like that. They would take turns staying up all night watching for that because it was the only thing they could do. They'd quick run out and till a bunch of ground to keep the fire from spreading to their facilities, their farmyard. That was in about the 1870s, 1880s.
What ignited or started that fire?
Well, most of the time it was hunters.
Oh.
And a lot of the time it was also lightning.
Lightning is one I was
And
thinking.
they didn't have to do that until the first frost, of course, killed the grass. And at that time, only about 10% of the county was under till or under plow. So there wasn't a lot of fire breaks out then. But the Fairmont Fire Department was started in about 1880.
Who started the Fairmont Fire Department?
Well, Harry Searles, one of the English colony representatives, started the fire department, and he was fire chief for many, many years. He was also a mayor, he was a city council person. He did a lot of things, and his main life was he was the local iceman. He had the monopoly for ice in Fairmont for 30 years, and he would cut the ice in the wintertime and store it and distribute it throughout.
Wasn't he born in India and educated in England?
Absolutely, yeah. He came to Martin County in about 1880, something like that. And the first years he was here, he ended up driving the stagecoach from Winnebago to Fairmont. That was his job, but he started out as, and then slowly worked into a lot of other things.
Well, let's talk a little bit about some historic fires in Fairmont. There's been quite a few that I've seen.
Yeah. Back in 1914, pretty much the whole west side of what is now Downtown Plaza. The 100 block of North at that time was destroyed in a fire. That was the same year that Fairmont hosted the State Fire Convention. But this is in the wintertime, just before Christmas, and it destroyed just about every business place there. That was a big one.
That was a syndicate block fire?
Yes, that's right, exactly. And of course, through the time, there's a lot of fires that happened. It seemed like they were making a parking lot in Fairmont once every year because of burning down buildings.
Burning down buildings, huh?
Yeah.
Jeepers. Well, then there was a little more recently the Interlochen fire, and you were on the fire department at that time, weren't you?
Yes, that was quite an experience. Of course, a lot of us firemen, that was where we that's where our hangout was
Sure.
at that time.
Sure.
So we all really felt that when that was gone. What happened there was the local theatrical company caught the curtains on fire, and it went so fast because it was all a wooden structure. And before we could even get hooked up to any hydrants down there, the building was pretty much totally involved.
Yeah, that was quite a loss. I know Lawrence Welk even wrote a letter to the Sentinel saying how sad he was that happened.
That was one of my first big fires. And I know I was in the building when the roof started to collapse, and I did not realize what was going on, of course, because I was inside. Well, Tom Cavers grabbed me by the back of my pants and drug me out before the building could come in. Lucky for me at that time, but yeah.
I'd always heard that it just went up just almost immediately once it caught fire.
Back then, we didn't have the technical equipment, the good fireproof equipment and stuff like that. It was a hazardous job.
Sure. Some other big fires that I know I've read about, the Sweet Shop fire.
Exactly. Now, that was right here in Downtown Plaza, and we never did find out what the cause was, but it was a hot, very smoky fire, and we couldn't hardly get into it because it was so deeply seated. And it ended up taking the Sweet Shop, and the Mahal's was totally damaged, and the theater that was there at that time.
And Mahal's was a sporting goods store.
It was pretty much a mercantile type store,
Did that fire, you said you weren't sure where it started, could it have started in the kitchen, do you think? Or?
Absolutely. That was kind of the area that we know it started, but what actually in the kitchen started it, that was a fire when we first started having the air packs. We could wear the air packs and go into a fire.
What are air packs?
That is a breathing apparatus that goes over your face with bottles, and that was kind of the first go-around for that. Our first training was on scene, so to speak.
And that was 1972?
Yeah, I believe that's right.
And it wasn't a Sweet Shop, or not Sweet Shop, Interlochen, that was 72
That was 72
as well.
also, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that was the same year.
Okay, then there was a school fire in 1969. What do you remember about that?
That's exactly right. It was the what is now the middle school. It was like the grade school at that time. It was a former high school. It started in September of 1969, and the fire department put it out. It was in a storage area. Did a lot of damage. But then there was a report that it should have started in a different spot, and the individual that started the fire started it in the correct spot and burned it to the ground. And that was following in December of '69.
That was located where, what, the Veterans Park is?
Veterans Park is today, yes.
Okay. And then the Stokely fire, that was a big fire.
Stokely fire was in 1966, and yes, it destroyed the whole canning line, the whole area down there of the boilers and everything on the south side next to the railroad tracks down there. That was where the last fire that the 1923 La France ended up pumping to.
The one we have in the museum.
The one that is in the Carlson room in the Historical Society.
Okay, and then the last fire we'll talk about is Park Motor.
Okay.
1952?
Yes. Park Motor And there again, we're not sure how it started, but everything collapsed into the lower level. Underneath that parking lot out there is the remnants from Park Motor.
From that.
And that's how come the parking lot has not been very stable over the years. It's buried underneath there, but that was a big one also.
Okay. Well, any closing comments, Randy, before we wrap it up?
Well, I think that the firefighting tactical and equipment has increased, and it's such good stuff today, and
right.
the people are just as dedicated today as they were back in my era. But it's a safer, it's more like a hobby to these guys because they have other jobs, and it's great that their employers will let them go to fires, you know.
Right.
And somebody has to do it, and they're a pretty good bunch.
Yeah, we all need it, and we all feel a lot better.
Exactly.
About the fact that that's
Exactly.
something like that in place. Okay, thank you, Randy, and thank you to our viewers and for watching, and we'll see you next time on Out of the Past and at the Pioneer Museum.
Hello everybody, my name is Chief and I'm one of the owners here in town of Fairmont National Agency. For those who don't know what Fairmont National Agency is, we are an agency that's been here in Fairmont, Minnesota for the last 120 years. I'm originally here from Martin County. I've always had an interest in our great community, and over the next year I'll be meeting with and visiting new members of our community, and in a series that we call Welcome Neighbor. In today's first episode, we're going to be meeting here with Matt and Laura Baker. They're from Fairmont, so welcome to Fairmont. We know you're new, so tell us a bit about yourselves.
Well, we came here as a result of, I'm an associate pastor at Bethel Evangelical Free Church here in Fairmont, and have been a part of the Evangelical Free Church for many years, and that's what has brought us here. And we have, I'll let my wife share a little bit about our children, but that's a little bit about me.
Yep, so we have 4 kids that are young adults now. So we are new empty nesters, and we've always said we were going to move out and get a place of our own. So this time it involved a relocation here to Fairmont. And I work here in the public school district.
Oh, do you teach?
No, I work, I'm an office administrator.
Oh, nice. Where did you guys come from originally before this?
We came from Bettendorf, Iowa, so about 5 hours south of here, southeast.
You said 4 children? Okay, girls, boys?
We have 2 girls, 2 boys. Our oldest is 24. We have a 23-year-old daughter, a 19-year-old son, and a 20-year-old son. Sorry.
Okay, good.
We had a litter.
Yeah, well, I have 4 too, but mine are all girls.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and then I have twins. And let me tell you, that's enough. So especially with
managing
all
the
the
sorority then. Huh?
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's quite the challenge, but you know what? I love it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade them for the world. So, what brought you guys here to Fairmont, to Martin County?
Well, for me, it was a ministry position at Bethel E Free, and it's actually a position I started kind of interviewing probably over a year ago.
Wow.
And then was process kind of, they started kind of slowly working through different applications, and finally we were asked to come here in the end of June. And then there was a process of going back, getting our house sold, and so then I started September 1st of this past year. So,
Like it so far?
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. It's a great church. We've just been very welcomed. Definitely felt loved, and it's been a great place to work so far. And great team, other staff members that I'm working with. Great to work with them, and yeah, it's been great. And then the community, we just really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like our community does a great job, even in the school system. My wife actually works in the school system too. So, do you work in the high school or the elementary?
At the elementary.
Okay. So, that's good. What have been some of your best experiences maybe so far here in Martin County or Fairmont? Have you been out and about or just kind of stayed here, or what have...
Well, one other attraction of Fairmont is the 5 lakes that run.
Absolutely.
I really like that, and I like to fish. And we have a retired pastor at our church who also does some work with the church, and he loves to fish. So he's been taking me out to some of his better spots, and we've been catching walleye and crappie. Wow. And I really appreciate
Taking you to
that.
the honey holes.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. Jerry's
That's
done
even
a
better.
wonderful job. Yes.
Yeah. I know that the striped bass have been pretty good too. Have you got any on any of them yet?
No.
Okay.
So
I see that they're picking up speed. There's been a lot of ice anglers out on those.
I
So that's
bet.
been
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's been good. There's no limit on those.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So what about you? What are your
Well,
things to do?
we haven't really been here that long. We have a house. We've got a couple projects that we've been working on. I've only been working this is my 2nd week in the schools.
Oh, okay.
So we've mostly just been around town. Matt and I were talking earlier. We've always lived in bigger cities, and so we've been married 27 years. This is the 5th town we've moved in. We've had some opportunities to move to smaller towns before, and it was usually me that was like, it's not going to happen. So Fairmont has done, and there's something different, and the impression that it has, even very quickly, was, it's beautiful. The way that the town wraps around lakes. I've never seen anything like that for such a small town.
Right.
I got lost one day. And because I started at one lake and I ended up in another lake, and I was just a little confused. So I actually had to, Google it back.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and then the town, whatever is made, the town is made in such a way, it's laid out really well. Everything is there, it's updated or kept clean. Just there's so many parks, and then that each lake has its own lakefront, and that you can find a couple restaurants on the lake. So that has that. It just has a special feel to it. There's cute coffee shops here.
Absolutely.
There are some nice restaurants. There's enough variety in that kind of way you can get by. And then now that we've gotten to know people, you begin to hear about the special little restaurants in other little towns.
Yes.
And and then you go and you're like, wow, this is.
Yeah, it's not just here in Fairmont. It's even the countywide, or even just a little bit outside of that. There's some great places. Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing too, with even at the school, the addition that they're putting on for the technical students is a great thing. That's where I like to take some of the interest to help keep kids here.
That's very forward thinking, and I just think of allowing kids to learn those skills while they have so many adults here to support them. And that's what I've seen.
Yes.
I started subbing in the schools as a para for a while, and from day one, I thought, what an amazing, the support that staff and students have. It's just I have found it to be a very welcoming environment for a school, and I'm a new person, so I've been a new person in a school building before, and they're not always friendly to you.
Correct. Yeah, we have some great
So
teachers.
This is incredibly friendly environment, and I see children in their classrooms, and teachers are teaching, and children are learning, and
they do a nice job, I think, too, with that forward thinking, and how even some of the college courses that they can provide too has been outstanding. Outstanding.
Yeah. If we had to start over I'd put my kids here in school in a heartbeat.
Are your kids in college then? Some of them are out or finishing up, or?
Yeah, we have one that's she and her husband are living overseas right now.
Okay.
And then we have another one that actually works in the schools.
And is working on an associate's degree. So.
And then our oldest son is a cadet at West Point.
Wow.
And our youngest son is considering military options as well. He's a recent high school grad.
Okay. Wow, so they're kind of all over the place.
They are all over.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. And any grandbabies in the future, do you think?
No plans.
Nothing yet?
Not that
No,
we're aware
that's okay.
of.
So, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay?
Timing is important. So.
My mom has 12, so she seems to think it's the best part of the whole thing, the whole package.
I'm sure
Kids
it
are
is.
fun,
Sure
but
it will be.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Sugar them up, spoil them. That's a true statement. I hate to say it, but it is. It really is that way.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good. Well, awesome. Yeah, that's so. I I'm so glad to see some new faces and to really enjoy what we do have.
Yeah.
You know, and to get out about more and those types of things, and even the lakes, like you said, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So I mean, it's you know, as far as the restaurants go, the other thing I like about here, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we do have a couple of big names around here, you know, the big box stores, but a lot of it is small town stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we're 10,000 people, but we have the small town shops here and there, and I mean, have you guys got have you been up and down the downtown much and seen what's
I
in
know,
here?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, that's where we were here. Was it around Thanksgiving? There's a parade.
Went to the glow lights.
Oh, the
So
Glow
that's when
Parade.
my
Glows
wife,
Parade.
she described Fairmont as a Hallmark town. And,
Oh, sure.
Because, you know, it was all lit up, it was very beautiful. And so they were talking, someone in our church, we were talking about, we're just looking for that Hallmark couple, you know, to fall in love and everything. And, well, that's you. So,
Yeah.
So that's what they're describing this
That's
as now at
perfect.
church, is the Hallmark couple. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we were just talking about the Glows Parade and it's something that you don't see everywhere. You know, it's
No.
something they've done a nice job with.
Yeah.
Well, every
Yeah.
utility vehicle in the city has got lights on it, and it's
Yeah.
down the street, and then
Yes,
you've got
we liked the hot air balloon one because as it came by, it warmed us up because it was a very cold night.
Yeah,
that
it
night,
was.
so.
It was. I know we sat in the car for that one. Yeah, we did.
But even if you look for a downtown area, there is some vibrancy here. It is not where every other
Yeah,
slot is closed. You're seeing
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's coming. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's a lot of people and involvement in trying to get some more,
Yeah.
and they do a nice job, and we hope that we can get a few more even yet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's nice to have people like you that can come to town and say, hey, here it is.
Yeah.
Get down here. We're
Yeah.
we're doing it. You know, so that's good. It's
Yeah.
good to hear those types of things. So that's why we're here. So coming from a big city to our small town here, what are some of the things that I guess that you've noticed that you really have, maybe a culture shock or something different that you really liked about coming here to Fairmont or to Martin County?
Definitely got educated on pig farming. And
yeah, bacon capital.
there's some folks in our church that are pig farmers, and it's been quite an education. And too, I've had my first pork burger, and very good.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. And I'm finding out that when you have fresh pork, it's very, very good. So big fan of our pig farmers in town. So.
Yes, that's yeah. Well, there's more pigs than people, but it's worth it when you have a nice pork burger, isn't
That's
it?
right. Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
it's very, very
Absolutely.
much so. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura, what about you?
Well, I think one thing I could even just see myself here is it is a modern town. Just a simple thing is that they recycle here. You know, that was something I was used to. Just that's what we did in the big city, and we had that ability, and I like being able to continue to do that. I can walk wherever I want,
Yeah.
and I like not driving my car and using gas. I tease right now. I mean, I can walk to work as well. I can walk to the grocery store. I get about 1 week to the gallon. So I'm
Well,
like,
that's
you
pretty
know,
good.
I know.
Absolutely.
Now,
Gas prices right now, it works out really
Yeah,
well.
we're in great shape then when you can walk. Maybe not on them cold days, but yeah.
yeah. I think too. We've lived near the Mississippi River and Lake Michigan, and here we have the little lakes, and we may be out in the middle of the prairie, but the sunsets and the sunrises are. I've never seen such color. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw a double rainbow, from end to end, just
Yeah.
because, and that I could see it.
Yeah.
It's just very pretty.
Sunsets are one of my favorite. Where we live, when we built our house, out my back picture window, you can every night see it. So
Yes.
what you said there really reiterates with where, I don't know if that's the right word I want to use, but it really hits home because I see a lot of them.
And there's a few funny things too, like, there are snowmobile tracks on our sidewalk right now. I've been warned the neighbor might hang a deer in the tree across the street.
I hope to hang my own sometime myself. So, but we'll see.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
I have a friend that uses the word oofda in a regular sentence.
Hey.
I mean, these were things I just
How
thought,
about a you betcha every now and again, maybe?
or the phrase I've heard is, oh, for cute.
Oh,
And I
that's a
thought
good
it
one.
was just a teenager using that.
No.
Then I heard someone, or oh for sweet. So
That's
a little
perfect.
different.
That's perfect. I think my wife uses that "oh for cute" every now and again.
Yeah, I thought she meant to say, oh, that's cute.
Perfect.
But it's oh for cute.
Outstanding. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it. We're absolutely thrilled to have you guys here. It's great to meet you. Glad you're having a great time and everything's going well. And we will see you guys next time on Welcome Neighbor.
Martin County on TV, talking business.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Price. I'm the Economic Development Coordinator for the City of Fairmont, and I get to interview Blake Pottoff from the Opera House today. Hi, Blake.
Hi.
We've got lots going on at the City of Fairmont, so we're excited to be able to highlight some of those things a different day. But today, Blake, what's going on at the Opera House?
Oh goodness. Well, we have a limited amount of time, so I can't get to everything. But we can talk about some of the things that we've got coming up yet this spring and into the summer that we're really excited about.
Yeah, so do you have anything specifically for kids? I've got 3 kids, so I'm really interested in that.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of times people think that the Opera House is just opera, or it's just for adults, or leave the kids at home, and it's definitely not the case. We've got kids shows coming up. We've got one in March. There's books called Dogman that a lot of the kids love reading by Dave Pilkey. And we're doing some public shows in the evenings, and then we have school shows during the day for Dogman the musical. So that's definitely a kid show that we want to make sure that everybody gets out to. So working with the schools with that one. We have a show called Fairy Tales on Ice for kids. Think Disney on ice, but not Disney. It'll be Peter Pan and Cinderella, all ice skating on the Opera House stage. And we also have monthly workshops for all of the kids too. So learning about dance and lights and sound. And those are $10 per time. Otherwise, if kids come to all 8 of them throughout the year, then their summer theater experience is free as well. So ample opportunity for kids to be involved at the Opera House.
Are you serious? Peter Pan and Cinderella are coming to Fairmont, Minnesota?
Yeah, and ice skating on the Opera House stage, which is kind of terrifying because, like, I like the movie Sing, and so when I saw that, I saw myself as this little koala guy, and it scares me a little bit because he's got the big tank on stage. The water floods the place and it falls down. It's okay because we're not having water on the stage.
Well, that's good.
They have synthetic ice that they'll bring in. They piece it together like a puzzle, and then there's this fluid that they put on it that they can then ice skate on top of. So it'd be a very cool interactive lights and sound and storytelling show on ice.
That's
on stage.
amazing.
Yeah.
When is that happening?
That's April 1st, and that will be a 7 o'clock show on April 1st at the Fairmont Opera House.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to that one. Very cool.
Me too. You know, we have a show the night before that too. We have a show called the Highwaymen. So it's Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Willie Nelson, that Highwaymen music. So I'm excited about that because I'll be there that night and we'll have really great music. But then the group will set up the next morning at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So only a couple hours of sleep to get everything switched over back to do an ice skating show the next day because we have school performances as well during the day. So in the span of 24 hours, I'll have 4 different performances of 2 different shows.
Wow, Blake, that seriously makes me wonder, do you sleep?
No, I also have a 1-year-old at home. So I drink a lot of coffee and I run on a lot of adrenaline. But it's kind of this, it's this roller coaster, right? And it's what I missed for a long time during the pandemic. This roller coaster of, we have this show and it's the prep and the prep and the prep. And then the payoff, you know, the peak of the roller coaster is we have this really cool experience that I get to share with people in the community and from afar and this really cool thing. And then you kind of go back down to the, okay, we're planning and prepping for the next show, and you kind of climb back up. So you run on those peaks and valleys that we have, and the excitement of the show and the people around really keep you going. And then everything got taken away for like 16, 17, 18 months. So there was never that payoff, right?
Yeah.
And the day that we were closed, we were supposed to have a concert that night. So it was the build up. And then there's that no payoff of the show, you know, that roller coaster ride. So that really keeps me going. And having people in the building and having, you know, the potential of 500 people to make 500 different memories in one night and have kids come in, 500 kids during the day, and then all of these people to share these things with. That helps, so you don't have to sleep as much because you just get the payoff of everybody having a good time, and that's really important to me.
That is amazing. What if I want to be involved at the Opera House? What can I do?
Oh, there's lots of ways to be involved, and some people think that they're a little scary because it seems difficult, but it's really not. So we have tons of volunteer opportunities to help out at the Opera House. We have our bartenders, which I always start with, and everybody gets scared of. It's not that hard because I can do it, right? So if you've ever had a drink in your life, you could bartend at the Opera House. It's very simple. You can open a can of beer and hand that to somebody. Very easy. Can of seltzer. We have our full liquor license too, so it's very simple mixed drinks. And the pourers, they measure it for you, so you don't even have to worry about measuring how much alcohol you're putting in the drinks.
So I don't have to know how to make a margarita in order to bartend at the Opera House.
We have pre-mixed margarita that you just put some ice in a glass and dump it in there. So
perfect.
It's really easy to bartend at the Opera House. Another couple ways to be involved is ushering. Ushering shows is very simple. We have a ticket scanning. It's really just a cell phone that takes pictures of the tickets that we have. So then people can go in and see the show. And we usually have between 4 and 6 of those for every show that we do. We also have a box office attendant that sells the tickets. And it's an online system. It's very easy to use, credit card processing, some cash transactions. Otherwise, it's a couple clicks and you're good to go. You print the tickets off and give them to them. And then the last one is a will call attendant, which is probably the easiest of them all. People who purchase tickets ahead of time, we set those out on a table, and the will call attendant says, I'm the will call attendant. Anybody who's purchased tickets picks them up from there and goes in and sees the show. So those are show-specific ones that we're really looking for, but we also have mailings that we send out that we need help with folding and stuffing letters and things to prepare and get ready for around the Opera House. So there's opportunities for cleaning or helping carry stuff in for shows and loading in shows. So if there's something that interests you in administration or in arts or in music, just let us know and we'll find a niche for you to fit in.
That's really great that there's opportunities really behind the scenes and not necessarily everything during showtime. That is really nice.
It is, and it helps us a lot too because we're a small staff. There's only 3 of us at the Opera House, and we're running this next year. We're planning on being busy between 200 and 250 days of the year, and that's kind of absurd for 3 people. So we definitely need help. We need help from people who want to be there to, like I say, help stuff envelopes or hang flyers around town or just simple things like that. And the show ones are pretty cool too. And it's not that difficult. We try to make it easy. And one of the benefits is you might get to see the show or a good majority of the show, or even meet some of the people who are there at the Opera House who have toured around the state or the country or even around the world. So
and the best part is you get to see the people's joy from being able to be a part of the show. Absolutely. So you get to do that for free and you're giving back to your community.
Yeah. Well, and it's for free, but we're also going to pay you, quote unquote. So we have this initiative called the Pay It Forward initiative. So if you volunteer at the Opera House, we'll credit you $10 per hour. And then you can use that credit that you have to use as a rental. So you can rent the Opera House and rent the theater and use the big screen to watch movies or play video games. You can have birthday parties in the basement or however you want to use the Opera House. Let's say it costs you $100 to rent the Opera House. Well, you can pay for up to 75% of that by volunteering at the Fairmont Opera House. So you could cover $75 and only pay $25. It helps us, it helps you, and everybody wins.
That is amazing. I really didn't even know that, Blake.
Yeah. We try to do things like this to tell more people about it. It's not as out front as it should be, but it's something that we've really started to do to track the time that people give back to us. We also want to start, and will be starting, a Volunteer of the Month program, so recognizing the people who give us the most time, and a Volunteer of the Year. People who give us the most time and who help us out the most, we'll have a little ceremony for them and reward them for their help.
Wow. And so if anybody wants to volunteer at the Opera House, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, well, there's a fillable form on the bottom of our website, fairmontoperahouse.org. It says sign up for our newsletter, so there's ways to be involved with that. Otherwise, you can call us at 507-238-4900, or you can email me, director@fairmontoperahouse.org, or Samantha, our technical director and Fairmont Area Community Theater Program Coordinator, which is a mouthful.
Jeez.
And she helps with the volunteers as well. And that's just Samantha at fairmontoperahouse.org. Just let us know.
That is great. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
time today, Blake. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, we have lots of community opportunities to get involved, more than just volunteering. And the shows we present is often what people see the most of. But we have new community theater shows. We have a small cast musical that runs in March. So make sure you check that out. 4 people doing a show about the struggles of high school and struggles with confidence and body image and that sort of. It's an amazing musical called Calvin Berger. So people should really check that one out. It's only 4 people.
Is that like an encouraging?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it is about how the struggles of high school and all we went through. We've all been there. It's like, I'm not sure about my body. The main character, he's concerned because he has a really big nose, and he writes these letters to the girl that he likes because she likes his friend, and so it's this kind of circle of like, I'm not confident to myself, but I'll help somebody else be confident. And it's a really wonderful story about building that self-confidence and having body positivity and a positive body image. So,
Ooh, I love those
Yeah.
inspirational stories.
yeah, we try to do something that uplifts people.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things in the world that drag people down, and we want you to forget that when you walk through the front doors. So, that's one of them that's coming up.
And what was the date on that one again?
So that'll be the first part of March, the
Okay.
second weekend of March.
Sure.
Calvin Berger will be that one. We're also looking at doing A Midsummer's Night Dream, and we'd like to do that outside in the spring, probably in April, to do Shakespeare in the Park. So there'll be more community theater coming. We're planning our summer community theater. We have monthly children's workshops, like I mentioned. We also have adult workshops. So if you're interested in learning about dance or light or sound, then you can contact us at the Opera House and come and check out those as well. And then the last thing we're doing, well, not the last thing, 2 last things that we're doing. We're very busy. Sometimes I lose track of count. One of them is for kids specifically, and it's 21 and under. We're hosting DJ dance nights on the Opera House stage. So it's a no alcohol event. We're checking IDs at the door to make sure that there's nobody over 21 there. And we have a DJ service for the Opera House because we have tons of free time apparently, where we DJ weddings, and we've done proms, we've done father-daughter dances, that sort of thing. But we'll do a dance night at the Opera House where kids can come in for free. Concessions will be available, popcorn, pop, water, some cotton candy, chips, cookies, that sort of thing. And then just dance between 8 and 11:30 on the Opera House stage. So we'll be doing those monthly. And then for people who aren't under 21, we're having kind of these parties every week in the Footlight Lounge. We've got a Valentine's Day party where you come in, there's live music and specialty drinks. St. Patrick's Day, we're celebrating Shakespeare's 458th birthday in April. To have all of these different community events and parties to highlight the Opera House, to give people an opportunity to be in there, not just to see shows, and to take advantage of the newly remodeled Footlight Lounge and Bar. So always tons of stuff going on to just check out on our website and follow us on Facebook, and you'll be up to date with all of it.
So there is really no reason that people can't find something to do here in Fairmont, is
no,
there?
No, there's not. And we're just one of the offerings of the things that we have here to do in Fairmont. But we knew there were voids, and we saw a lot of those voids in the year of COVID, where there was a need for something to do, and there was a want and a desire for something to do, and to be involved and around other people. And so we want to make sure that we can offer as much as we can to keep people involved and out and happy.
And it doesn't even really matter what you're interested in or how old you are. You have something for everyone.
Yep. Yeah. Our community theater is kindergarten through 12th grade. And so we say we can cater it from anyone to, kindergarten to 100 plus. The Opera House is 120 years old, but that doesn't mean you have to be 120-year-old to be there, right?
Right.
So it's a building and an organization meant for everybody. And it's not just Fairmont either. It's anywhere in Martin County, southern Minnesota, northern Iowa. The building exists and the organization exists for the people and because of the people. So we'll keep doing everything we can to keep the people in the building and keep them happy. People
do come quite a ways to come to our Fairmont Opera House, don't they?
Yeah. In the time that I've been here, we've had people from Chicago and Missouri, the Dakotas, just based on the shows that we have. Sometimes there's a show called Voice Play, an a cappella group. originally from Orlando, Florida. They were on the sing-off. And the closest that they were to Chicago was here. And so there's a family who said it was easier for us to drive 8 hours and get a hotel room than to drive the next closest place they would have been. So we draw people from all over to come see the shows. And like I mentioned earlier, we draw shows and bring them here from all over the world.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for joining me today, Blake. You know, I was really excited to be the one to interview you today because even though the Opera House is art and I'm economic development, it is really surprising how the two can work together and how the Opera House brings community to our town.
Yeah, it's wonderful because, like I said, it's not just people from Fairmont. It's people from all over visiting, and they're going to restaurants and to bars and staying in hotels, and all of that intertwines with your job and with mine.
It really does. It has a greater impact than just the people and just your Opera House there. So thank you for everything you do, and I look forward to chatting with you again in the future.
Sounds good.
Martin County on TV, talking business.
Well, there you have it, another episode of Martin County on TV. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we welcome you to tune in again. Thank our sponsors for making this happen, and remember, it's not just the past, but the present that tells our story.